Welcome to Bracket Busters, a podcast where we talk everything March Madness. That means star players and teams looking to make a deep run, as well as those aiming to blow up your bracket. I'm your host, Naya Leveretter, and we are finally at the end of March Madness women's basketball. A champion was crowned this weekend. Each week this month, we've been able to deep dive into the analysis, the storylines, and the madness because there was a ton when you look back on the season. Today, I'm joined by Raven Douglas again, a former player at North Carolina A&T. Once again, Raven, I'm glad you were able to hop on. We have a lot to talk about after the championship Sunday. Always start with our Monday Madness meter. This week, I want to talk about obviously UCLA being crowned the champions, but I also want to do a deep dive into how meaningful this is. We've heard it over the broadcast the past couple weeks. The first NCAA championship in program history for the UCLA Bruins. The last national title they won was in 1978. It wasn't even an NCAA, like that wasn't a thing yet. So it was the AIAW, the Association for Intercollegiate Athletics for Women. I didn't even know that was a thing. I've never heard of that.
History, yeah, like, that's history. I learned something new with them winning. I feel like I've learned a lot about the history of basketball.
Yeah. Something that stood out to me, I was reading some articles online and they were talking about two alums from that UCLA team in 1978 that are season ticket holders to this day. Denise Curry and Ann Myers Drysdale. Curry is still the program's all-time scorer, leading scorer and rebounder, and then Myers Drysdale was the first four-time All-American in women's basketball ever. So, I don't know, I thought that was really cool, a little cool piece of history just to show, like, some of the meaning behind, I guess, the importance and depth of this championship. And it's also been reported, head coach Cory Close, 15 years on the job. Uh, I mean, you've been an athlete, you know what it looks like seeing your coaches work so hard. So what are your initial thoughts about that timeline and dedication for her to get to this one major point?
Yeah, I mean, when it's your time, and it was evident that it was Coach Cory Close's time. Like, I mean, it's just I feel like her steps were ordered, and I mean, she's somebody that you can tell just stayed down to the process, and the girls a part of her program absolutely love her and like loves being a part of the Bruins, like this journey and everything, and you can just tell just how like much they loved that program. So honestly, I was just very happy for her. She talked a lot about it. It was just beautiful to see kind of that moment transpire. Her mom joining the post game interview and tears coming to her eyes and her talking about just having to do it her way and staying true to doing it her way and creating that culture and building that culture up and just staying true to that. She also paid homage to a lot of people that kind of poured into the program and that came before, and she talks about Coach Wooden a lot and um, just how much the achievement meant to her, and not just because she wanted it for herself and for the program, but just to get there because of all the people that have come before and have poured into her. So honestly, I thought it was just a beautiful moment, and I was very happy for her achieving that as well as the program.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you brought up the point about her mom in the interview because that was really sweet. But then like you're saying, I mean just the hours and I mean, we've both been players, so we understand as players the amount of hours and work and preparation, but a coach, it's like a different level too. It's not so much the physical of, running suicides and running plays and things like that, but this is like the brains and the system, the culture. Like the coaches laid a foundation. So for her to be dedicated for 15 years, like
Yeah.
that's crazy. That is
Especially especially now more than ever, because now it's more work with, like, making sure you have enough NIL and retaining your players and all the extra layers that come up to just building the program, like, talking to the people, the donors, and things like that. So, yeah, it's a lot more, like you said, a lot more work going into it.
And I feel like it's at a good time too. Like, of course, everybody wants to win a championship like ASAP, but we're at a time where women's sports is like the thing right now, especially women's basketball. So I know it's just that much sweeter for her.
Yeah, and I feel like it brings back the idea of because Dawn Staley talked about how long it took her to win her first championship. I don't know if I think she said, like, maybe 15, 17, 13. It was around that amount of years that she said it took to win that first championship, and you don't always think about that because now we know Dawn Staley as, like, the dominant
Right.
coach,
Great.
but, like,
Yeah.
Yeah, it brings it back to that baseline of it takes time to build this type of dominance and this type of legacy.
No, that's very true. Okay, I want to go into the Final Four recap on Friday. Texas versus UCLA, a low-scoring game, 51-44. UCLA obviously ended up winning that. Um, I was really looking forward to this one because it was a rematch. If you don't remember, Texas beat UCLA back in November, and it just got me thinking about even in conference play, how hard is it to beat a team that you've already played twice?
Yeah. I mean, especially and think about the UCLA team too. Like that's like a dominant, like a senior led team. They're very experienced. And like you said, that game was back in November. So both teams had a lot of time to figure out their identity and grow and mature and get more connected on the court. But even in that first game, UCLA showed that they could make the necessary adjustments in game because even though Texas got out to a great start that first quarter, I think they were up like 20-10, outscored UCLA in the second quarter, but in the second half, it was UCLA that took over and outscored Texas in the last two quarters. So they showed that they were able to kind of find those in game adjustments there, but for it to be a rematch, it's just it's extremely hard to beat a team twice that's senior led, that's experienced, that's motivated, that knows how to adjust. And when they learn your game and adjust from what wasn't working and they turn to lean into what they know is their strengths, it makes it hard for Texas. Because if you think about it across the board as a team, if you beat a team, you know, okay, let me just stick to what's working.
Right.
However, if you're the losing team, then you're automatically given the blueprint to what I need to fix.
Right.
So now the next game turns into, okay, I'm as a team am doing what's working and sticking to what's working. And then the other team, like, now you're having to deal with like those in-game adjustments. So I think it definitely is hard to beat a team twice, especially to that level and that caliber.
It made me think about, when Audie Crooks and Iowa State took a loss earlier in the season. Everybody was, like, in an uproar, like, "Oh my gosh, like, they're not who they need to be, like, what kind of loss was that?" But they were saying, like, "No, sometimes losses are good because it teaches you what you need to improve on and shows some of those things that would've been blind spots if you won and just were able to move on." So, uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, sometimes you need those losses. UCLA held Texas to 44 points. It just seemed like Madison Booker and Rory Harmon kind of struggled to get going. Both of them finished with single digit points. And I want to point this out, not in a negative way. Both teams shot 40% or less from the field, but I do want to say that is a testament to their defense. These are two teams that are very prideful, well-oiled defensive machines. So, how important is that? Is it to lock in and take great shots against teams who are just disruptive defensively?
Yeah, I wanna say this first, it definitely hurt my heart, I wanted Rory Harmon to get one, I really wanted her I love her, I'm such a fan of hers, but yeah, it's like you said, it's extremely important, that's the difference between winning games and losing games, because taking bad shots, forcing bad shots, especially if you're not hitting them, can create, offense for the other team, it can create fast break opportunities, it can create, confidence for the other team, so taking the better shots makes the difference in tight games and in big stages like this when like nerves are messing things up and stuff like that. You want to take the easier shots, the better shots, the shots that are in your system or the shots that you that can get you a good look at the basket because even if you miss it will put you in a good opportunity to rebound and put it up instead of creating fast break opportunities for the other team.
Texas relied on Oldacre a lot. Their post player was the only one in double figures that game. I feel like UCLA made Texas's offense really quiet and then was able to capitalize on their end. Speaking of post players, I can't ignore, I'm not gonna bring up Lauren Betts. 16 points, 11 rebounds, another double-double for her. She shot 70%.
Ooh,
And this really sticks out to me because, I mean, she gets, like, battled, bullied in the paint. So
yeah,
just for her to be so efficient and assertive in the paint, I mean, I'm watching her games and she initiates the contact. And then even if she's not in the low post area, if they force her out and nobody comes out, her range is extended. So then she has the confidence to shoot. Like her teammates tell her to shoot. I mean, we saw that in the championship game too. They replayed it one time where they were playing off and her teammate was like, no, shoot it. Like you're wide open.
Yeah.
So as a guard, 'cause I can't relate as a guard, but what is the value in having a post player who can deliver at all times like that?
It's invaluable. I mean, look how they were playing. The UCLA guards are playing. Like there's passes they could just throw up. Like it's just get it over the defense, and you can trust Lauren Bex is going to finish it. So, as a guard, it's invaluable to know that you have that inside presence, that somebody that you know is going to clean up, get those easy points, and draw the attraction of the defense. And I mean, think about the greats: Lisa Leslie, Tina Charles, Cheryl Miller, Candace Parker, the bigs who attract the defense and draw the double teams or can just make those smart plays, passes inside. It opens up the floor for the guards to get shots, to be able to knock down shots. And even if you're missing, you're shooting with confidence because you know I have a big inside that's gonna get the rebound, that's gonna put it back up. So it helps boost confidence and opens the floor offensively, get into like a good offensive flow. And then also on the defensive end, like if you're guarding, obviously you want to obviously always stay in front of your person, but things aren't always perfect on the defensive end. So if I get blown by, if somebody gets backdoor, being able to trust that I have somebody that has my back there that can rim protect it, it makes a difference. So I feel like in general, just relieves a lot of pressure as a guard.
I think that was probably my favorite thing as a post player. Like you're saying, if you get blown by, like I'm here, y'all, front and center. I can block. Like, don't even worry, I got your back. Like,
Yeah.
that's real. Went to UConn in South Carolina. This game, it shocked me. It really did a little bit. I'm not gonna say like completely, but I didn't
Yeah.
think it was gonna be like that.
Yeah.
62 to 48. I was so excited to watch this game. I feel like I was texting one of my friends. I was like, "Oh my gosh, my stomach hurts. Like I'm nervous. Like I'm about to play out there. Like I'm so anxious and excited for this game." But I noticed within the first 3 minutes of the game, it was just a rapid pace. So lots of back and forth, change of possession. As a player, can you explain the adrenaline before you truly settle into the game?
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like the pregame nerves are definitely a tough one, and it's always people say it a lot. I know announcers say it a lot. Is like the team that's going to win this game is the first team that can settle in, because they understand that that first quarter. It's especially on a big stage like this. This is March Madness. This isn't like playing like this is March Madness. Like we're trying to get a ring
Fair
here.
deal.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how many times how much experience you have making it to this level, it's hard to recreate that, so you're always gonna really want to, so you're always gonna be nervous, especially in front of a crowd. So, I mean, those nerves are always gonna be there, and I feel like that's exactly what it was in those first 3 minutes, and having to navigate it's not something that you can say a word and it'll go away or listen to something and it'll go away. I think it just goes away with settling into the game and getting that playtime experience.
Yeah, my parents just always ask me, like, would you prefer to be a starter or come off the bench? And I would always tell them I prefer coming off the bench because those first like 4 to 5 minutes of the game, not game clock time, but actual time, is just so fast. And like, you don't know what it's going to be like until you're out there. So I always like being on the bench and like scoping the scenery out, seeing where I can, be better or add to whatever my team needs at the moment. 'Cause those first few minutes are just it's a lot, like, there's a lot of emotion and adrenaline and feeling, like, I can't even put into words, honestly, how it feels like that's just something people have to experience, like,
Yes, I agree,
it
especially to that degree and that level. I mean, we're seeing record number attendance and watching, so it's so many eyes on these. I cannot imagine playing on that stage at this type of high level game. Like, it's a lot. I can't imagine what their nerves were.
no, for real. I also put down that I wasn't expecting the game to go that way because I wasn't expecting UConn to get outworked like that.
Yeah,
I feel like South Carolina committed, to rebounding by committee. 39 to 27 on the boards. That's the margin right there for UConn and South Carolina. And you can visually see like Tessa boxing out, and she may not get the rebound, but another one of her teammates does. And then they're in transition, beating UConn up the floor, and there's just nothing you can do to defend that. Diving on loose balls for extra possessions. I feel like I counted like 4 or 5 times in that first quarter where um Joyce Edwards is just like free ball, loose, just rolling on the ground, trying to get the extra possession. I mean, what stood out to you about how intense and aggressive South Carolina played?
Yeah, I mean, everything that you just said, and you talked about rebounding. I mean, coming from the guards, Sanaya Latson picked up 11 rebounds as a guard. I mean, and she's getting her. You could see she was like just hustling, getting her team extra possessions. And I'm thinking like it'll be a few times where the ball will go up, and it's like a group of bigs, and she
Yeah.
will come out with the ball, and I'm like, what is going on? Like she led, I think, all scores that game. I think she had 16 points. But I mean that her performance was it was great to see. I love when transfers come into a new program and look to expand their game, and you could just see how much she's grown. I thought she really stood out, and then Agat McKeer. Oh my gosh, I was so oh my gosh, like
Mhm.
she's right, like her future is so bright. Her athleticism, she was the second highest scorer with 14. But she showed her athleticism, her length, her scoring ability, her talent. I mean, honestly, across the board. And again, they were operating without Raven Johnson. Raven Johnson picked up, I think, two
Right.
yeah, early fouls, had to sit for a little bit. Couldn't really get into rhythm. I think she hit maybe it was like one I think she had a shot from the field, but they had to operate without her, and I think the team really showed that they had her back, but those 2 players right there, Latson, and McKeer really stood out to me.
But one thing I wanna point out about Okot too, I feel like she responds so well. Like all those physical things and skills that translate to basketball, great. But I also like her response. So like in huddles when people are telling her things or giving her pointers, you can see her like, okay, like got it. Like she responds well and then makes it happen. So I mean that's always just a great characteristic of a teammate to have.
Yes, yeah, I agree.
They had 2 runs that stuck out to me. So South Carolina went on an 11-1 run from the end of the first quarter into the second quarter, and then another 16-4 run in the third quarter. And it just seemed like UConn just could not figure it out, just could not bounce back. I feel like the only person I really saw fight back or trying to was Sarah Strong. You could visibly see the
Yeah,
frustration on her, but what is the mindset when you dig yourself into a hole and have gaps where you just can't figure it out? Like, you can't figure out how to stop the fire of the opposing team.
yeah, you have to take a possession at a time because if you look at it as like I'm looking at this deficit that they're running, it's like you're gonna get so overwhelmed that you're gonna take yourself out of the game. Like you have to focus. If I'm a team, I have to focus on winning the next possession, then stacking the next possession on top of that, and then continuing to stack possessions. Because if you look at the big picture again, like I said, you're gonna get overwhelmed. And I think that would have been the biggest thing for UConn could have helped them in that game is focus on this next possession. Let me get the best shot I can get or I know I'm aware that we're getting out rebounded. Let me box out harder so that I can get my team an extra possession and switch my mindset to the little things until I can get back in rhythm offensively. I need to focus on each possession, stopping them and creating a good scoring opportunity for myself until we can get a rhythm. And I think that would have helped for sure.
You talking about, just capitalizing on offense, I feel like I remember hearing in the game too, Gino saying, like, there's a lot of one-on-one. I think somebody reported that in the timeout, there's a lot of one-on-one basketball going on, and that's just not gonna solve getting back from a run, so that's definitely something that held them back. I also wanna talk about the debate of physical play.
Yeah.
I'm the type of person, as soon as I get done with the game, I'm going on Twitter, I'm seeing what everybody's saying, I'm on Instagram in the notes, like, you saw how But there was a lot of online discussion about UConn being in the Big East Conference and then playing these games that are against teams who are in dogfights almost every single night in their games. Obviously, in the Big East, they dominate. So, what is your opinion on what that does or maybe hinders them from accomplishing when it comes to championships and Final Four time periods?
Yeah, I completely agree. And this is no disrespect to any of the Big East teams, but I mean, if you're blowing teams out all season, we have to think about like the basics of getting reps in and like muscle memory and stuff like that. And when you're getting reps of you're not being tested, you're not putting yourselves in positions of adversity, then I don't want to say that you're getting comfortable, but you're just not used to being in tight positions. And teams who are used to being in those types of positions get the reps of navigating adversity and finding a way to stick together and working through each possession and things like that. They are more equipped and more prepared for these types of big stage moments. And I think they have UConn has players that obviously, I mean, they're just so talented that sometimes it doesn't even matter. But as a team and as a group, to be able to pull through the wins, you need reps of being in adversity so that your muscle memory, your mindset adjusts to that type of position and you know what to do in those big moments on the stage.
Obviously, a large talking point was the handshake fiasco. For anybody who wasn't tuned in, I guess I should start with the interview first. So, was it halftime or the third quarter? Holly Rowe did an interview with Gino, and he was very heated. Was talking about the foul count, which I agree. The foul count was very insane. Like it was very there was a discrepancy there, but, he also called out Don Staley on the sidelines and then insinuated that Sarah Strong being fouled had her jersey ripped, but then it was later obviously shown that she did it she did it herself. Like I said
Oh,
earlier, she was visibly frustrated. I mean, she's a
yeah.
competitor at the end of the day, so those things happen, but, after the game, a brief but escalated conversation between Don Staley and Gino as the game was ending over a lack of shaking hands prior to the game. What are your thoughts and opinions on the situation? And then also about the apology?
Oh, I'm so glad you guys have so much to say. Starting with the interview. Okay, I like you said, I do agree. A 6-0 foul count is insane. However, I will say the foul count was also a bit discrepancy in that first quarter, especially those 2 fouls that Raven Johnson picks up. I feel like some of the fouls in general shouldn't have been called. I understand you being mad at the refs saying something. I do understand. But calling Don Staley and he's saying their coach, like we don't know who Don call her by her name, first of all.
Like,
Like
let me
we
get it. Come on.
Niggas talking about their coaches all okay, whatever. But anyway, I personally don't believe Don Staley is calling these refs out of their name. I mean, I feel like she would be holding them accountable if she's upset. Any coach would, but like talking about him, the way that he addressed her, like saying like she was ranting and raving and doing all these things and calling them out of their names and stuff like that, I feel like was very unnecessary. Talk about the game, talk about the refs, but that interview in general rubbed me the wrong way. I mean, I understand being upset, and I do sometimes out of emotions we say things, but that I feel like just rubbed me the wrong way in general. So I was kind of like, oh, like what is going on? And then we get to the end of the game, and you say that after a Final Four matchup, you were upset about a handshake at the beginning of the game. Everything that went on during those 40 minutes of play, you're gonna talk about a handshake that happened at the beginning of the game. Are you kidding? And the way that you go about that, are you kidding? You need to know Don Staley is loved, beloved, beloved. There's no way that you should have thought that that was okay. And I think the way that some people were saying like, "Oh, it's just two competitors, too passionate." I'm too passionate, coach, da da da. No, I feel like it was disrespectful and I feel like it was unnecessary. And if the tables were turned, they wouldn't be calling it passionate. They wouldn't have said Don Staley is a passionate competitor. No, they would have been labeling it as aggressive. The same way that if we go back to the matchup between Iowa and South Carolina, they were calling Iowa passionate or whatever. And then the South Carolina calling it a bar fight, calling it aggressive. Like there's a double standard here. And I was very upset with how that was handled. And then moving on to the apology, you disrespected Don Staley. You didn't disrespect the pro. You disrespected her specifically. So for you to not call her out in like apologize directly to her, and I saw an article about Don Staley saying like I still haven't received anything from him, not an apology directly from him.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's insane. You told your staff to get on ChatGPT and write up an apology and just copy and paste it and post it. That's what I see about. Like I don't see it as genuine. I don't see it as respectful, and I don't see it as directed toward Don Staley, which it should have been directed towards.
I agree with all those things. I was watching the game after in the post game, and I think it was Andrea Carter that pointed out the fact of how hypocritical it also was for him to be talking about the handshake. And then after the game, come into her area and then walk out the arena without acknowledging the rest of the team that is now headed to the championship. At the end of the day, if you're a supporter of women's basketball, even if if it's not your team, kind of like what happened with the championship, it's not your team, but Dawn Slater was still happy, still proud of the game advancing. For me, it was just a lack of respect, not just to Don Staley and the rest of the team, but also just women's basketball as a whole. And this is
Yeah,
somebody who's a prominent figure. I just feel like that should not have happened. And like you said, I understand emotions get high, but there's just some things that come down to human decency that Like, even if you mess up at least have a genuine apology after the show. Like, that just was not my greatest moment, but we didn't get any of that. And I also really dislike the fact that UConn did not play their best basketball that night. That was terrible. That might have been the worst UConn basketball game I've watched since I was born, honestly. I was texting my dad the entire time, like, I've never seen this happen before.
Yeah.
But for it to still be a bad game and, like, 6, 7-point deficits is amazing, but I feel like part of it was also a tactic to take the focus away from that, and
Mhm.
if that's the truth, if that's what it was, I still don't like it. Like, either way, he was wrong, and the response, the apology was just not adequate. Like, that was terrible.
Yeah, that's insane, and you're taking away from a big moment, not just from your team, but from the seniors that, their season ended, from seniors that are advancing, and thinking about, so like you said, how Don Staley has handled these situations, like, was it last year where she was in the exact situation where UConn beat
Yeah.
South
Mhm.
Carolina UConn beat
Yeah,
South
they
Carolina?
got blown out. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, and in the post-game interview, she talked about, held her team accountable. "We just were outworked today. We just were outplayed." It wasn't any disrespect to UConn, and she even praised how they played. So it's like that you distracted from what should have been a huge moment, making the national championship game. You made it about yourself, and you made it very disrespectful, and you did not genuinely apologize about it. So all around, like you said, it was very distasteful for me.
And these coaches are, like, so connected. I know he has her number. You could call her, apologize. Like, I also felt very kinda awkward because of the rest of his staff too. After he walked off, you could see them also trying to, like, mitigate the situation, but I don't know. It was just I wasn't expecting that. I literally sat up on my couch so fast and was locked in, like, it was insane, but
Like, yeah,
on
especially the women
oh,
on staff.
good.
Sorry, yeah, I was just saying, especially, like, the black women on staff, you could tell it was kinda, like,
Yeah.
un uncomfortable.
The coaching world is so small, like,
Yeah.
I know that was awkward. Now I wanna move on to the championship. We all know what happened. UCLA obviously beat South Carolina. We always talk about full court press defense from a team. I feel like when UCLA was on their run and South Carolina threw the full court press in there, it was really effective. Um
Mhm.
I realized the entire time Dawn didn't call a timeout whenever they were struggling. Like, she let her team figure it out, put the full court press on, and then force UCLA to call the first timeout.
Mhm.
And I know when I was playing, that was always a goal. My coach would always tell us, like, no, we throw the first punch and then they have to call the timeout. Like, put them in a position to feel like they need a breather. They need to get it together for a second. On top of that, I also just feel like there was a lot of balance scoring for UCLA. So Jaquez, 21 points. Neekins, 15 points. Betts, 14. Laker Walker and Rice, 10 points.
Yeah.
In the third quarter, a stat came through that said 65% of their points came from just passing to their teammates. How essential is it to have a collective threat of balanced scoring from 1 through 5?
Oh my gosh, it's so essential. Like, I mean, knowing that you have scoring threats, it doesn't matter where you go. Like, defensively, I'm thinking, dang, like, how am I supposed to stop? Like, it's really gonna come to, like, one-on-one defense, or we gotta figure something out, because it's like, if she's not scoring and she gets it to somebody else, then boom, they're scoring. Like, it's hard to stop that defensively if everybody's on. And they were taking some of the shots that they were hitting was like tough shots. I mean, we had some fadeaways, we had some bank threes. I mean, they were just genuinely just on, but having scoring threats across the board, and even coming in off of the bench as well, it just makes a difference for confidence, for morale, for offensive rhythm, for flow, because it takes the pressure off. I don't have to score because I know my teammate is also on as well. So it kind of helps with taking the pressure off of any points that you're putting up, because you can kind of feel in rhythm and know, if I don't get it, somebody else is going to get it. So I feel like it just helped the confidence of the UCLA team and the rhythm that they played with in the championship game.
That UCLA team also 5 seniors on the floor at the same time. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, they just play like a unit. Defensively, you could see them, like, somebody gets beat, somebody's right there to help. Like, if they're in zone, like, every rotation is flawless, and I feel like South Carolina struggled with that because they were forced to take a lot of bad shots in these possessions. So, like, some low percentage shots, shots that just didn't make sense. You don't really see throughout their season. But kudos to UCLA because you could just see that, like, this is a unit. Like, they work on this day in and day out until it's perfected.
Yes, they were hooping, and honestly, I'm not even gonna lie, I wanted South Carolina to win,
Yeah.
especially after everything that happened. I wanted South Carolina to win at first, but I'm saying, like, watching the game, it was just fun to watch how they were hooping. I mean, like you said, it was a unit, and the shots that they were hitting, and the energy they were playing with, and even when Betts was off of the floor, 'cause I
Yeah.
understood that the coughing fit or something, whatever was going on, but in general, just to watch how they were hooping, it was just as a basketball player, anybody, as a fan, it was just fun to
You
watch.
have to be pleased if you know basketball for real. Like,
Yeah.
I understand. I get it. I understand.
Yeah.
Um, I want to talk about Lauren Betts and just what this championship probably means to her this year. A couple weeks ago before, um, or I guess in the middle of the tournament, she talked about her mental health struggles prior to this season and to go from your darkest moments to then turning around and winning a championship with your sister, and then you're also MVP of the Final Four. I mean, how miraculous of a story was that to actually witness?
Oh my gosh, I mean, it's insane, like, on top of that, you're getting the first championship for your like, I mean, it's just so much that made that moment so special. It was beautiful to see, a beautiful success story, and anybody who's had mental health battles know that that's not an easy thing, and, it's called a lot of people call it, like, the invisible enemy, the invisible opponent, because it's hard to navigate those dark moments, so to be able to persevere and find a rhythm and then make history and then have so many have those people that are part of it surrounding you, and I don't know, it's just honestly
Sister is on the team, like, it's,
like
like, perfect.
know their parents are like, just like, "Are you kidding?" And then also she's just a great person. Like in the interviews, like I remember watching an interview where she stood up for she advocated for Madison Booker. Everybody was on her about Booker not having a good shooting night
Mhm.
when they played each other. And she advocates for others. She's a great person and a great player. And so it's always great to and fun to watch people like that succeed, especially when not everybody wins those mental battles. Not everybody gets this success story. So for her to do it is special and beautiful, and I'm so happy for her.
Well, that's all we have for you. Thank you for sticking with us this entire month of March and April. Again, UCLA, shout out to them for being crowned champions, Cory Close and the crew. And now we have the countdown to the WNBA draft.
Yes.
Quick turnaround. Really
Quick
excited
right.
for that. Well, hopefully you guys see us here next year. This has been Bracket Busters presented by Five Wins.